Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, funnily, I was talking about it yesterday, not getting a letter back yet, and strangely, a letter came, or an email I should say, from Caroline Ansell MP, and as expected, it was a waste of time trying to talk to the Director of Child Services, Alison Jeffries, of the East Sussex County Council, because I'd already know that I wasn't going to get any kind of response that was going to be favourable, and I did say that to the MP, but I thought because that MP's letter that she sent, where it looked like she had some kind of power and would be able to make the changes, I don't know, there was something in that email that was full of promise, and yet it all comes to nothing. It appears that MPs, or at least this one, doesn't have that much power, because, well, you know, when I asked them, well, she won't even ask the question to PMQs that I actually asked. As a constituent, can you ask this question to PMQs? She's not going to do that, because I asked it and it's not happening. So I guess she's too scared to stand up and say it. But not that it would make any difference anyway, because they would do the same thing. I'll just back up and say, well, this is all the things we are doing, and we're so brilliant. This is why people don't fight. This is why things don't change. Because even when people do try, like me, to try and make things change, you just keep hitting your head against the wall of the system that just thinks everything's right and you're wrong, and who are you to question what we, the professionals, have already decided? Even though you get proven right. Because I know, like with the AMP thing and the graduated process, from that 6 weeks in, I understood that this was just going to be a waste of time, and that's all this 3-term, 4-term analyst report, whatever it is, was going to be, and that they would come to the same conclusion that they did in the first 6 weeks, and what we already knew from even starting the school, that Alina needed one-to-one support. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we needed. So I was proven right. But the Director of Child Services was saying no, blah, 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 blah. Now they're saying, yeah, the professionals, the educational psychologists, all of them is, it's right that Alina doesn't need, well, she does need one-to-one support, but she doesn't need a specific person paid for by the ESCC. She doesn't need a one sport teacher. The school should be able to provide that one-to-one support in their normal way. We shall see. She started back, nothing so far. Maybe it'll be easier now that the energy of these kids, they're sitting down on chairs, that it'll be easier to give that attention to Alina, to be able to give her the one-to-one support. We'll soon find out. I'm sure I'll get a meeting with SENCO. Because the thing is like, and you'll see from this letter, it's the same old problem, one versus the other, and me and Alina, or the parents and Alina, are stuck in the middle of this, because it's the school is saying, no, we need one-to-one support, give us the money, so it's ESCC's fault. The ESCC and all the people they employ, like the educational psychologists, are saying, no, the school should be able to do it, you don't need that, it's you do it. So it's like, and then Alina's in the middle, them two saying each other should be doing it, and then no one's doing it. And I know, I'm pretty sure, I'll put it down here, unless, the teachers are much better than reception, then I suspect what's going to happen in 6 months or a year, maybe even shorter than that, we'll be told that, Alina needs one-to-one support. They'll start singing that same song that they did through the whole reception year, that they can't do it, that she's failing because of this. And the SENCO will start saying, because I'm sure we're going to get meetings with him. And then, then we'll have to bring forward in 6 months or a year, the educational psychologist come back, and the educational psychologist will then say, oh yes, Alina does need one-to-one support. And she won't say that she was wrong in that decision that she made a year ago. She'll say, well, because of this new evidence, or because of, this bringing to light, or because this is found, this is why we're going to do this. They will never admit that they made a mistake. They will just say, yes, she does need one-to-one support. And so she would have wasted exactly the same as a year ago with the AMP, when I questioned the 6 weeks and why we can't just go to the EHCP straight away rather than going through this process. Alina will lose out another year, and then there'll be something else, because by then she will have needed something else, and whatever that is, that'll be a year later as well. Because it's always pushback, and primarily because of money. You know, that's what I talk about in The Pursuit of Truth, is to do with this. You know, everything is limited by money, because I'm not going to get into that. You can listen to the other Pursuits of Truth to see that. But I'm just going to read out the letter now because, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I suspect that's what's going to happen. And, you know, I'm saying it now, and I'm sure I'm going to be proved right that she does need one-to-one support. Well, unless, like, the thing is, like, I'm stuck in the middle because I don't know, you know. What I do know is she does need an education, and she does need more support than, say, a neurotypical child. I know that. You know, you can't just have someone standing up in the teacher in the front and saying, do this, because she doesn't have that understanding because of her disability. She needs someone to be next to her. She needs someone to, you know, when she runs around, she's going to stim. That's part of her expression of excitement or happiness. That's normal. She's going to be doing that. Then she needs to be sat down and helped more, you know, because she doesn't have the same communication skills that the other 5 to 6 year olds have in that class. So she is going to need more help than a neurotypical child. That's 100%. Now, whether the school are lazy and they don't want to do it, or they are overwhelmed because they say they have like 5 to 6 autistic disabled children in the class, and therefore then they may be demanding, because that's the argument I made to the APO, to the ESCC, to the Caroline Ansell MP, that the problem is the educational psychologist is saying something that the school have already said they can't do, which is, if they've got 30 kids and they've got 1 teacher and, you know, 3 or 4 teaching assistants, that's not enough to cover the 6 or 7 autistic disabled children they have and the neurotypicals. Now, I don't know. They could be just saying that because, like, as the letter I sent to Caroline Ansell, which I'm sure she didn't send to the ESCC, which I think she should have done, showing that the school, you know, just copied and pasted the whole thing and said, we can't do this. Maybe that does show that the school are the one that are lacking in this. I don't know. But I know that the ESCC are not going to want to give out money easily, and probably won't worry about wasting a year of Alina's education and setting her even more behind. Anyway, here's the letter, so you can make up for yourself, although you know. So this is what Caroline Ansell, Member of Parliament for Eastbourne and Willingdon, said. Dear Harris, further to our previous correspondence, please find attached a response I have received from Alison Jeffrey, the Director of Child Services at ESCC. I am very sorry that this may not be the response you were hoping for, but I do hope that it is of some help. I don't know what help she thinks it is. It's of no help. You'll see the letter is just a report, and this is exactly what I thought we would get. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have any room for, you know, looking and checking and, you know, seeing that, oh yeah, maybe you're right. Let's do what's best for this child. We've made this decision and our decision is right. That's it. Anyway, it carries on. Please be assured that I will continue to speak to my ministerial colleagues on this issue. I will continue to urge a further action to be taken with regards. I suspect there won't be any further action that she does. So this is the letter from the ESCC, Alison Jeffreys, Director of Child Services. Thank you for your correspondence dated the 3rd of August 2023, and this came in at 4th of September. In relation to your constituents, Harris Maguire, and their concerns regarding Alina Maguire's Educational Health and Care EHC plan, I am sorry to read your constituents' concerns and looked into the case to provide some context and hopefully reassurance. It's just a report of exactly what's gone on. How does that doesn't answer the question. If I've asked the question, telling me what's going on doesn't actually answer the question. It just tells me what's going on. I know what's going on. After receiving a request from the school, primary school, for an education healthcare needs assessment as part of that process, we assessed, and then on the 15th of June 2023 agreed to issue Alina with an EHC plan. On the 21st of June 2023, we issued Alina's draft EHP for the parental representation along with their school's preference form and received a response later that day with queries in respect of social care and social queries. Mr. Maguire's assessment and planning officer APO responded by return. On the 23rd of June 2023, your constituency queried the absence of one-to-one support for Alina along with their formal representation, which included one-to-one provision. However, on the 13th of July 2023, the professional judgment of the Educational Psychologist EP service disagreed with the parental view that Alina should receive one-to-one support throughout the day. It was explained that the statutory advice already detailed the provision including times of interventions. Moreover, they considered that more than one adult should be delivering provisions to enable flexibility. So putting it on the school. So they don't want us to have one person specifically for Alina. They want 3 people for Alina. So the school can just use up different teachers. Please be assured that the EP service does consider that Alina requires high levels of one-to-one support. You see, she does need it. The EP says she needs it, but they want her to have it. They don't want to guarantee it, because if they gave them like £20,000 and they employed someone, it would guarantee she would have that. But now they've left it in the hands of the school with how many other people they have and whatever skills they have. Because remember, everyone working with Alina is meant to have a certain bit of training, which I wanted to have a date on it that they all had to have the training in September. They didn't want to do that. So I suspect none of them have that training by this year. Please be assured that the EP service does consider that Alina requires high levels of one-to-one support to engage in direct learning tasks, as she cannot access her curriculum without such support. However, Alina's EHC plan clearly states the recommendation provision, who is to deliver this, and the recommended associated environment, for example, whole class, small group, individual. Okay, we'll see, won't we? Professional judgment is informed by evidence. For example, the Education Endowment Foundation, EEF, evidence that full-time one-to-one support can have a negative impact on the progress children make and their self-belief as learners, especially for those with the most complex needs, and that it is vital that there is strong focus on learning independence. I get what they're trying to say, but I wonder, what this research was based on, whether it was based on neurotypicals, neurodiverse, autistic, disabled children, like what criteria was that research based on. She's going to get one-to-one support throughout, I don't know, maybe they're right, who knows, I don't know, they're saying they're right, what can I do now, huh? But it's easy for them to issue this research and then to quieten me, isn't it? But I don't know, maybe they're right. Whilst parental preference was for Alina to continue attending the primary school, we received confirmation on the 4th of July 2023 that they were unable to meet Alina's special educational needs. However, with the higher rate enhanced funding that we allocated to Alina's EHC plan, along with the SEND support service, we were confident that Alina's school could duly meet Alina's special educational needs. When determining funding for an EHC plan, we allocate this in accordance with the provision stipulated within Section F of EHC plan to ensure funding matches provision. Moreover, we will always support parental preferences where they are advocating for mainstream education. Yeah, they will always do that. Do you know why they will always do that? You see here, they're saying they will always listen to parents when it comes to mainstream schools, but they won't listen to parents when I wanted one-to-one support for Alina. Why? Because if I wanted one-to-one support for Alina, it would have cost them a lot more money than they're giving. That's why they don't do it, even despite of the research. I mean, I'm sure you could get research both ways, like in anything in life. You can get one research who will say coffee's bad for you, one research coffee's good for you, These things up and down. So I'm sure you could get research for either way to counter that argument. The reason they don't do it is because of money. But why is the reason why they listen to parents when it comes to mainstream? Why? Because they don't have enough special schools. And who has to fit the bill for the special schools? The council. And so therefore they will always allow your child to stay at the school, even when the school says everything can't be done, and maybe putting at risk of the child, because they don't have the money to build the special schools, or they haven't done it, and they're more expensive. That's why. But they're pretending that the reason is, we will always listen to parents when it comes to mainstream schools, but not when it comes to one-to-one support like I wanted. On the 14th of July 2023, we issued Mr. Maguire's Alina's final EHC plan, naming parental preference of the primary school in Section 1, providing their right of appeal. I hope the above has adequately addressed the concerns raised by the constituent. It hasn't. If they have further queries they would like to raise with us directly, please kindly signpost them to the team there with us, customer relation team, for advice. Blah, 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 blah. I'm, of course, happy for you to share the content of this letter with your constituents. Yours sincerely, Alison Jeffries, Director of Child Services at the ESCC. And there you go. Just what I expected. I did tell the MP, because I was hoping she was going to go to the LA, to the ones that fund the thing, and that she would be able to put some pressure there to get Alina the money that she needed. But I guess the thing is, the problem is the report. At least now what we've learned is the key person is the educational psychologist. Even though we said everything, we said to her that she needs one-to-one support, we'll just have to make it very clear this time that that's exactly what we want. But the problem is that person is employed by the ESCC, and therefore independence is not guaranteed, because I suspect, that they don't want the EEP to be saying, yes, this child needs £20,000 its own teacher. Well, anyway, because now they've got research. Even if the EEP did say that, they would turn around and say, well, the research says that that's a really bad idea for your child. It's not going to have independence. And just remind me, how does parenting work? Is it best to have one parent throughout life and there all the time, or lots of different parents? It's just absolute bullshit. But this is why people give up, because now I'm thinking is there any point me just going back to the MP and saying, well, I told you so, this is what I expected to happen. Did you share the letter? I'm sure she didn't share that school letter. I mean, there's no point. So you can see the frustration of the world that we live in. This is just one little thing, one simple little thing. Imagine changing the world. Imagine trying to get rid of money and kings and politicians and all the stuff, the system that we live within. How difficult that is to be. No wonder nothing ever changes so quickly, because everyone wants to hold on to whatever they've got and to say that, well, this is right, it can't possibly be wrong, I'm not even going to look at it, I'm just going to tell you what we did, and you're just going to have to accept that. I mean, I suppose you did say, there's some research saying that... So I don't know, they're basically saying the school should be able to do it. Even though the school were told how much money they were going to get, and they said no, they couldn't do it, they copied and pasted the whole thing, that they couldn't do anything. So I don't know. As a parent, looking at one side saying, this happening, and thinking, well, how's Alina going to succeed in this? The only hope is the school buckle in and actually do the work. But I don't know. Well, anyway, that's the update. Haven't got anywhere really, have I? After these months and months and months of writing to different peoples and trying to get the graduated process changed, trying to get Alina's EHCP so she actually gets what she needs, what I think she needs, the one-to-one support. I don't think it would be a harm having different people giving a one-to-one support when, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see, isn't it? I suppose, as they say, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? No amount of research can really show the truth. It's only when you experience something. So Alina's the test, isn't it? So we'll see. If in a year's time we don't get any pushback from the school saying, oh, we need one-to-one support, we can't do it, and Senko saying that, and inclusion, and them starting to talk about special schools would be better for Alina and all that kind of stuff, and the teachers saying, no, it's too much, and we can't do it for Alina, she's struggling, she's failing. If all that happens, then we know that they were wrong. But if, on the other hand, she gets through and she passes everything, because the thing is, with Alina, she's learning before she got to school. She's still learning. In this summer term, she teaches herself. A lot of the things, the school probably will take credit for things that Alina taught herself. She already knew how to read before she got to school, to primary school, to reception. She already read full blended words. Not phonics, she was reading full words, like I would read them out of a book. Obviously not as good as me or as fast, but she could read, whereas Aiden couldn't even, the neurotypical couldn't even read and struggled with the phonics side of it. Obviously he's caught up now because of school, and you can say, yeah, that's definitely because the school's helped that. But with Alina, she's definitely learned a lot herself and through us. And, through technology of learning through CBeebies and alpha blocks and number blocks, she knows centillions and Googles and all that kind of stuff and numbers, and she's been learning times table and division during summer term. knowing how to write things, practicing her things herself. So maybe at the end of the day, it won't even matter what the school do, because she loves education. That's the strange thing, that they want to get rid of her and not Aidan. Aidan doesn't, like to play games, fighting games, like boys do. Alina, she will always seek education and creative things like creating videos and learning maths, learning alphabet, learning words, all those things. If they give her that help, the thing is that she's doing it herself. She's teaching herself. And therefore, all they need is a little bit extra. Like in some areas, like one of the teachers that actually told us that we didn't know at the EP meeting, is that Alina's actually ahead on certain things, like with reading and numbers and writing and things like that. Because the Senko and inclusion and her actual teacher always told us about the negative things and how she's failing and all that. And it was only when the other teacher that sometimes helps out told us all these things. It was like, wow, we didn't know that. We thought she was struggling and failing through the mainstream school. But actually, she's ahead of these things. But probably not because of their efforts, but because of her own efforts of teaching herself. What a marvellous thing to have a child that wants to know about education and creativity and do all these things. If only you could work with that rather than always looking for the negative, she's going to flourish. She will be a success because she has a great brain. I've seen it. For a 5-year-old to be able to use computers and know times tables and divisions, wow. Anyway, that's probably the end of this to do with Alina's help letter. I don't think there's going to be any more. I don't know if I'm even going to bother to go back to Caroline Ansell. There's no real point. The only thing I would go back to is say, like, what help do you think this really is? But I'm not even going to bother. I think I'm just going to, that's it. They won. I tried. It's the same when I tried with the dentist. The dentist should offer help. If you remember that, back when I had the root canal thing and I couldn't get a dentist. That was during COVID time because they wouldn't take, and then the emergency ones wouldn't do root canals. So they just wanted to take teeth out. I failed doing that. So it seems like it doesn't matter. If you stand up and you say this is wrong, and you even provide evidence showing it's wrong, and even if you are, say, like, if you could be God and know that this is definitively, what you're saying is true and accurate and they're wrong, it wouldn't make any difference. It still wouldn't convince these people. They still would stay with what they've got. Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.